The Grades tool in Moodle comes with some changes. Here we'll focus on those that can be found in the Gradebook setup area, where you would go to edit existing grade items and categories or to manually add grade items and categories. Whereas formerly you had an add grade item or add category button to manually add grades and categories, you now have a drop-down menu here on the right-hand side where you can do that. So if you have students submit paper-based assignments in the classroom, for example, or in any other way other than in Moodle directly, you can still create a manual grade item to issue them a grade or feedback for their work. As an existing Moodle user, or if you are a new Moodle user, when you create actual assignments or forums or quizzes, any type of activity within Moodle, it will automatically generate a grade item. So for all of these assignments that I have created through the add activity or resource tool, once I created that, it automatically provided for me an actual grade item in the gradebook. So jumping back to my gradebook setup, all of these linked grade items were automatically generated when I created those assignments. So you still have the option of adding grade items manually or just having them automatically be generated when you create those assignments. Within the Gradebook Setup tool, another thing that you'll notice is some changes to the interface as far as how you reorder items. So for example, I still have this up-down arrow to move specific individual grade items, but when I click on it, this interface to where I move it is just a little bit more simplified. So once I've clicked on that grade item like I just did, I'll then locate the dotted line, which represents the new location that I want it to go to. So if I wanted to take this assignment that I've clicked on, and it will show me in parentheses next to the name of the grade item which one I've selected, which one I'm moving, actively moving, I will then click it into position by clicking on that dotted line, which represents its new location. And here I can see that it moved it for me. If I have multiple items that I want to move, I would just click on the checkbox next to them. I now have a move icon on the footer, and when I click on that, I have a couple of different ways of moving those multiple items. I can click on the main gradebook title. In this case, it's going to move it actually right at the very top of the gradebook. So it's independent of any of the category options that I had. But if I want to reselect them and then click on the move option at the footer again, I can also opt to click into a category and select move, and that will move them into the category that I've chosen. The default system or aggregation style of the Moodle Gradebook is natural or weighted in relation to the number of max points you've issued each grade item. So automatically my gradebook will issue weights to items in a gradebook unless I decide to manually add myself. So for example, here I've selected this one grade item to be worth 100% of the weight of the weekly assignment category. If I uncheck this, it automatically calibrates everything back to a weighted system based on both the total number of points I have for the gradebook overall, but also in relation to the total number of max points for each category. So for example, I have a total of 712 points in my gradebook, and because I am opting to have Moodle just automatically calculate all the weights, it's determining this by the total number of points that each category has. So for example, in my weekly assignments category, the total number of points that I've issued each grade item all summed up together is 412. So it's saying that 412 out of the total 712 points of my grade book is 57.865% in terms of weight. But I can override this or adjust this as I'd like. And I just have to click on this checkbox next to it and type in the weight that I want to change it to. When I do that, it then again readjusts things. And as you can see, I have this other category and an actual independent item over here. So then again, I'm going to go ahead and readjust the weights. I'm going to make this category be 25%. And now that I've accounted for all total 100% of my weight between the weekly category and the quizzes category, this independent item all the way at the bottom is 0%. But I've decided I'm going to move this little test item into my quizzes category. And I'm going to do that actually by clicking on this up-down arrow and then just clicking it into position here within the category itself. And as you can see, because my grade items are unchecked, which means I'm letting Moodle do the automated calculation of weights, it's now readjusted the weights for each of these items to equal 33.333% of within the category. As is the case with the category weights, I can adjust these grade items. So whenever I do that, for example, I'm going to choose to just manually change the weight of this annotated bibliography item to 35. And because these other ones are set to automatically calibrate, it will compensate for the change by redistributing the weight in relation to the points value that they have. However, if I were to decide that I want to change and manually override the automatic or calculated weight, it will alert me to when my calculations or my numbers are either exceeding or below 100%. So it will alert me to any imbalance in the grade book now. So if I'm ever manually readjusting those weights, it will give me that alert. And as soon as I have it balanced out, that alert will go away. The one thing to note about moving things in and out of categories after you've established your own manual weighting is to double check that it doesn't recalculate the weights of any moved items. Because once you take it out of a category and it's independent of any particular category where you've manually adjusted the weight, the gradebook will again want to compensate for that weight and readjust things. So sometimes that will occur. So if you do move things in and out of categories after you've adjusted or manually changed your weights, you'll want to make sure that things are still looking the way that you want them in the gradebook setup area.